Hi guys, and welcome to my channel. In this video, we are going to talk about operators in programming. I will teach you about relational and logical operators. You will learn everything that is important to know. We are going to write some code and see how they work on real examples. And I will also teach you about some of the most important problems and bugs that happen very often and that you should know about. And before we start, there is something very important that I want to tell you. So if you want to become a programmer and you want to enjoy all of the perks that we developers have, such as high job demand, great salaries, a lot of work flexibility like remote work and flexible work hours, so you're able to travel and work at the same time from anywhere in the world, you will work on cool projects, meet a lot of cool people, and so on. So if you want all of these, then I have created a perfect plan for you that you need to follow in order to get your dream job. I have invested a year and a half of my life to create a perfect practical programming course that will teach you programming so that you can start a successful developer career. The course was launched just 2 months ago, and we already have a lot of students who are achieving great results. Here, I'm going to put some of their experiences so that you can also know what to expect and what you can achieve in just 2 months. And if you start today and if you stay consistent for 6 months, then you can learn enough programming so that you can start a successful developer career. The course is made for absolute beginners. You will get practical experience and learn how to make real applications. And in this course, we are going to write C#, but you will get transferable skills that you can apply to any modern programming language. And the best part is that I made an entire plan for you. So everything is on one place. All of the lessons that you need to watch, all of the exercises and tasks that you need to do, your job is just to follow that plan. Also, I have a gift for you as my YouTube viewer. So the first 100 people who click the link in this video will get a special discount for course enrollment. So you can find more details in the description. And now let's continue with the topic of this video. So let's first explain what are operators. Operators are special symbols that we use to perform different operations, such as adding, multiplying, dividing, comparing, and so on. In the previous video of this playlist, we have talked about arithmetic and assignment operators. So if you did not watch that video, make sure to do that. The link will be in the description. It is operators part 1. And then this video is operators part 2. So in this video, we are going to talk about relational and logical operators. So let's start with relational operators. Relational operators are used to determine the relationship between two values. For example, is A greater than B? Or is A less than B? Are they equal? And so on. So we have 6 relational operators in total. So I will put them here. Let's say relational operators. So let's start with the first one, and that is equal to. So let me give you an example of how this operator is used. Let's say int A is equal to 5, and then int B is equal to 7. Okay, so now let's say bool is equal. So what I want to do is I want to check if A is equal to B. And then when I get the result of this operation, I will assign that result to this variable here. So let's print the result and let's see what is it going to be. Okay, so here it says false, which means that A is not equal to B. So 5 is not equal to 7. Okay. One very important thing is that you don't confuse these two operators because they are not the same. This operator here is relational operator, which is called is equal to. So it checks if A is equal to B. And then this here is assignment operator, which means that it is used to assign a value to a variable. In this specific case, when this operation here is performed and we have the result, that result will be assigned to this variable here. So once more, this is relational operator and this here is assignment operator. Another important thing that I want to mention is the priority of these two operators. So which one of these operations has priority? Comparing or assigning. Priority has this operator here, which means that we will first compare these two numbers, and then when we get the result, then this operator here will assign it to this variable. And because this operator here has bigger, higher priority than this operator here, what I can do is I can even delete these parentheses and we will still get the same result. So if I start my program, as you can see, we still get false. Okay, another relational operator that does opposite from this operator here is this operator here. It is called is different from. So this operator checks if two values are the same, if they are equal, and then this one checks if they are different. So what I can do here is I can say, please check if A is different from B. And let's also change the name of this variable. So I will say is different, like this, and then let's print this result. So now if I start the application, as you can see, we get the result of true because 5 is different from 7. Okay, so is equal to and then is different from. Another relational operator is this operator here. It is called is greater than. So let's see how to use this operator on a different example. So let's say, for example, int my age is 29, and then let's also say int your age. Let's say that your age will be 25, but let me know what is your age in the comment section. I'm really wondering how old are the people who watch this video. Okay, so my age, your age. So now what I can do is I can check which one is higher. So I can say bool is Saldina older? Okay, so how will I check this? Well, I will simply say, please check if my age is greater than your age, like this. And then I will print this value. So if I start the program, we get true because 29 is greater than 25. Okay, and then if I change this, if I say that, for example, you are 31 years old and I start the program again, now we get false as a result. Another relational operator is this operator here. It is called less than. So let's see how to use this operator. Let's say bool is student underage. Okay, so I will check this by saying if your age is less than 18. Okay, so if you are less than 18, then you are underage. Let's print this value. Okay, so clearly a student who is 31 is not underage because 31 is not less than 18. But if student is 17 years old and I start my program again, as you can see, we get the result of true because that student is underage because 17 is less than 18. Okay. And then we have two more relational operators. This one is called greater than or equal to. And then this one is called less than or equal to. So let me show you an example of this one. So I can say, for example, bool is student adult. Okay, student is going to be adult if he is greater than or equal to 18, like this. So now I can print this value. Let's start the program. Okay, and the result is false. Student is not an adult because he is 17 years old. But if I change this to be, for example, 21, let me just close this window and start my application again. Now, as you can see, we get the value of true. So that means that this student is adult. Okay, so that is how you use this operator here, greater than or equal to. And then for homework, you can write an example of this operator here, which compares if value A is less than or equal to the value B. So those would be 6 relational operators. Let's go once more through them. Is equal to, is different from, greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, and then less than or equal to. So 6 in total. Okay, now let me show you another interesting thing that you can do with this operator here, is equal to. Let's delete this code, we don't need it. And here I will create a string and let's call it message1. Okay, and here I will simply say hello. Okay, and then let's create another string. I will call it message2 and it will have the same text. So now what I can do is I can say bool are messages equal. Okay, so here what I want to do is I want to check if message1 is equal to message2, and then I want to print the result. So if I start the program, as you can see, we get the value of true. So this here is another interesting example of how you can use this operator here, is equal to. So you can use it to compare if two strings are equal. But there are many tricks when it comes to comparing strings and working with strings. So I will create a separate video which is dedicated only to that. So make sure to watch that video. It will be linked in the description. It is very, very important topic. Okay, so let's stop the program. And now if I, for example, change this second message and I start my program again, okay, as you can see, now we get the value of false because these two strings are not equal anymore. Okay, now let's talk about common bugs and errors. The first one is that you should be very careful when you are comparing two variables that are of different type. For example, what you cannot do is you cannot compare a string and a number. This here does not make sense, and your compiler will immediately give you this red squiggly and it will tell you that you have an error. So you cannot do this. What you can do is you can compare, for example, an integer and a float number, but this is not allowed. So that is the first error that you should know about. Another important error, which is very sneaky and very dangerous, is if you try to do something like this. Let's write an example. Let's say double number 1 is equal to 0.3. Okay, and then let's create another variable. Let's say number 2 is equal to 0.1 plus 0.2. Okay, so now if I try to do something like this, for example, bool is equal. So what I want to do is I want to compare if number 1 is equal to number 2, and I want to print this result. What do you expect to get in this situation? Please pause the video and let me know in the comments section before you watch the solution. I hope that you have written your answer, and now let's see. Okay, and we get value of false. So 0.3 is not the same as 0.1 plus 0.2. So apparently these two are not the same. So now logical question is why? Because if you know anything about mathematics, you know that this here also results in 0.3. So now the question is, why do we get this result? Why does our computer think that these two are not the same? The answer is because you learned mathematics wrong your whole life. And just to demonstrate that, if I print this number 2 and I start my program, as you can see, we don't get 0.3, but we get 0.30000 and then 4 at the end. So this is not the same as this here. And that is the reason why we are getting false as the result of this operation here. So now if you are wondering why do we get this value, please go and watch my previous video, because in that video I have explained in detail why do we get this weird result. The video will be linked in the description. So operators part 1, make sure to watch that video and then you will understand why we get this result. So once more, if you are trying to do something like this, and if you're comparing two decimal numbers, then you should be very, very careful, because there are some errors that can happen with decimal numbers. And you can learn more about it in my previous video. Okay, so those are relational operators. They are also called comparison. So let's put that here. Okay, so relational or comparison operators. Another type of operators that I want to talk about are logical operators. So let's put them here. Like this. We have 3 of them in total, and those are and, not, and or. Okay, so and operator, not operator, or operator. So now let's talk about logical operators. So the first operator that I want to explain is this one, logical AND. So let's explain it on a real example. For example, I said that I have a programming course where you can learn practical programming and get a job. And I also said that I have a special discount. But there are some conditions on who can and cannot get that discount. So let's say that there are 2 conditions. First, 100 people who click the link in the description. So only first 100. And then second condition is those people should have coupon code. So let's see how we can write that condition in our code. So the first thing is bool is in first 100. So has the student clicked in first 100 students? Let's say that is true. Okay, and the second thing was bool has coupon code. Like this. So here I will also say true. Now let's write the condition. So here I will say bool has discount, like this. So who will get the discount? Only a person who clicks in the first 100, and at the same time that person needs to have coupon code. So both of these need to be true in order for the person to get the discount. So only if both of these are true, the result will be true. So let's check that. Let's start the application. Okay, and as you can see, the person is in first 100 and he has coupon code, so he can get discount. But if I change any one of these 2 to be false, the result will be false. For example, if I say here that the person is not in first 100 students, as you can see, that person cannot get discount. Or if I return this to be true, but here I say that the person did not enter coupon code, so here I say false and I start the application again. As you can see, again we get false result. And the same applies if both of these are false. So if both of these are false, again the result will be false, as you can see. So the only way for this logical operation to be true is only if both of these are true. In any other case, the result will be false. Okay, so let's return these to be true. And now I want to show you another logical operator, and that is this one. This one is called not. So let's see how it works. Let's add another variable. Let's say bool is coupon expired, like this, and here I will say false. Okay, so now I will add this to my condition as well. So I will say and is coupon expired, but here I will put not. So if the student is in first 100 and he has coupon code and the coupon code is not expired. Okay, so now if I start the program, as you can see, we get the result of true because each one of these is true. So what does this operator here do? It simply reverses whatever is here. So because here we have the value of false, it will simply reverse that and it will be true. And if I change this to be true, then this entire condition, this entire expression will be false. So if I start the application, as you can see, the result is false. Student cannot get discount because if you remember, the nature of this operator is that all of these individually need to be true in order for this entire expression to be true. So this here is true. This here is true as well. And then this here is true, but when we reverse that with this not operator, this here will be false, and that is the reason why this entire expression will be false. Okay, so that is how these two operators work. And, not, and then this one is called OR operator. So let's write an example for that as well. Let me delete this code. So let's say bull is weekend. Here I will say true, and then let's say bull is holiday. Here let's say false, and then let's add another one. Let's say bull is vacation. And here let's also say true. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to write an expression that tells me if it is day off or not. So I will say bull is day off. So how will this condition look like? Well, I need to check if it is weekend, or if it is holiday, or if it is vacation. So if any one of these is true, then it will be day off. So let's start the application, and the result is true because, as I said, at least one of these needs to be true in order for the entire expression to be true. So that is how this OR operator behaves. So only in a situation where all of these are false, only in this situation, the entire expression will be false. So if I start the program, as you can see, the result is false. But in case that any one of these is true, for example, I say it is weekend, then the entire expression will be true. And if I start the program, you can see that it is day off. Okay, so let's go once more through these logical operators. This here is AND operator, and as we said, AND operator requires all of the individual operands to be true in order for the entire result to be true. So in case that only one operator is false, the entire condition will be false. Okay, and then we have this operator here. It is called NOT operator, and it just reverses whatever value it stands in front of. And then this operator here, it is called OR operator, and its behavior is as follows. Just one of these conditions needs to be true for the entire expression to be true. And only in the situation where all of these are false, only then the result will be false. We learned a lot today, so let's practice a little bit. I'm going to give you an example, and then I will give you a task so that you can solve that task, and then we are going to solve it together. So the first task is this. So here we have 3 variables. Please retype this in your code. So your task will be to write a condition if this person can drive or not. So the condition is following. This person can drive if he is older than 18, he has a license, and he has not consumed alcohol. So please write your solution, and then you can watch mine. So let's do it together. As I said, the condition is that the person's age should be greater than or equal to 18, and this person needs to have license, and at the same time, this person cannot consume alcohol. Okay, so this is how the condition should look like. This here needs to be true, this here needs to be true, and then this expression here needs to be true, and in that case, the person can drive. So if I start the program, let's test this. As you can see, the person can drive. But in case that I change these, for example, here I say that the person is 13 and I start the program, the person cannot drive anymore. Okay, or if I return this to be 20, but I say that the person did have some alcohol, if I start the program, as you can see, the person cannot drive. Okay, so don't drink and drive. Let's close the program and let me give you another example. So here we have 4 variables. Is card valid? Is card expired? transaction amount and transaction limit. So what we want to do is we want to check if this payment is successful. So how should the condition look like? You need to check that the card is valid, the card did not expire, and that transaction amount is less than or equal to transaction limit. So please retype this code on your computer and then try to solve this problem on your own, and then we are going to do it together. So the condition is following. We need to make sure that card is valid and that card is not expired. Don't forget this not symbol. And at the same time, I'm going to put this into parentheses. We need to make sure that transaction amount is less than or equal to transaction limit, like this. So only in case that all of these expressions individually are true, only in that case this entire expression will be true and the payment will be successful. So if I start the program, as you can see, we get the value of true. Now let's test this a little bit. Let's say that this person is trying to spend a lot more money. So if I start the program now, as you can see, the payment will not be successful anymore because this transaction amount is greater than the limit that is allowed. So let's lower this amount a little bit, but let's say that the card is expired. So again, in this situation, this payment will not be successful. So once more, only in case that all of these individually are true, only in that case the entire expression will be true, because that is the nature of this operator. That is how AND operator functions. Okay, now let's practice OR operator a little bit and let's do another example. Okay, so here is another interesting example, and this little cutie gave me the idea for the example. Say hi. He doesn't want to say hi. I have two of them actually. They come in two different sizes. This is the big size. Bye-bye. So you should write an expression to check if this person can adopt a pet or not. So how should that condition look like? Well, first of all, you need to make sure that one of these two is true. So that person either needs to have free time to play with the pet, or he needs to have another pet so that the animal has a friend. He has someone to play with. So one of these two needs to be true. And then at the same time, the person needs to have backyard so that the cat or a dog or whichever animal can go outside, enjoy the sun, and so on. So that is another part. And then third part is that the person cannot have pet allergies. So that is how the expression should look like. Now you can pause the video and try to do it on your own. And now we are going to do it together. So as we said, one of these two needs to be true. So I will put inside parentheses that either the person needs to have free time to play or he needs to have other pets like this, okay? And then the person needs to have backyard, okay? And then at the same time, he cannot have pet allergies. So in order for this person to be able to adopt the pet, this inside the parentheses needs to be true, and then this needs to be true, and then this here needs to be true. And then for this part inside parentheses to be true, just one of these two need to be true. So now if I start the program, let's check the result. The result is true because the person does not have time to play, but he has another pet, so the animal will have a friend and someone to play with. So this here will be true. And then the person has backyard, that is true. And then he doesn't have pet allergies. So this here will be false. And when we reverse that, this part here will be true as well. So that is how this entire condition results as true. So I hope that you enjoyed this video and that you learned how to use logical and relational operators on real examples. If you have any questions, you can leave those in the comment section. And if you want to learn how to build real applications and if you want to get a job as a software developer, then click the link in the description and you can enroll in my practical programming course where I will personally lead you from beginner to expert in programming until you get your dream job. And don't forget that for a limited period of time, we have a special discount that you can claim by clicking the link in the description of this video. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in another video. Bye!